Hello, for today's video I am doing a tutorial on how I draw noses. This is not the only way to draw noses, this is just how I draw noses. There are 9 illustrations on this page, and for each illustration of nose I have included the reference photo that I used. Now a lot of people don't like to use reference photos, they want to be able to do it from imagination. And the only way that you're going to be able to do it from imagination is studying actual noses to know what they look like. The way that a person is sitting, the angle of the face, the angle of the nose, it changes everything about the nose. Now this isn't going to be a nose anatomy kind of study. This is just me telling you how I approach drawing noses. For this first nose, this is done all real time. I haven't made any cuts other than when my pencil is not making any marks on the page. After that, I do speed up the video a bit so that this video isn't 10 hours long. That would be horrible. As it is so freaking hot here. My fan, I don't know if you can hear it, but my laptop, she is crying. She cannot handle this heat. I can't even blame her though, because it is freaking hot. It's only May. This has been an insane year for weather, don't you guys think? Now, from any drawing that I'm doing, I come in with a light hand. I never come in here and start making dark, hard lines. I try to come in as gently as I can, and I start off with the most basic of shapes. Like we're talking triangles, circles, pyramids. I am not making anything that looks remotely like a nose ever. And I know that a lot of artists have varying different opinions on what or when you should be using your smudge tool, or if you should be using one at all. And honestly, I don't care. I just do things how I like to do things. I've been doing this for 20 years and life is really short, and you should just do whatever the heck you want to do as long as it's not hurting anybody. Now with that being said, the only reason that I'm able to use the smudge tool the way I use it is, like I said, I use light layers. I don't press hard into the paper. If I was pushing really hard into the paper, it doesn't matter how well I use that smudge tool, you're going to be able to see the lines. So I'm always coming in with a light hand. I can't stress that enough. When I come in with the smudge tool, I am basically trying to get everything the same level of tone. I'm just doing one big flat wash of tone, except for I am trying to avoid the highlight, and I am also trying to keep the shadow separated because I've already spent the time putting in those lines so that I know where the shadow is going to sit on the nose. So while I am trying to do one big flat wash of color, I'm also trying to keep that pretty evident. Like in even the nostrils, you are going to lose some. You're smudging it out the graphite. You're basically like rubbing it out. But however, that's when you come back in and tighten up those details. Like right now you can see me going over the nostrils, which another thing to point out, everybody likes to put like little ovals for noses, like there's some, bottomless pit of despair. They're not, and they're all shaped different depending on each person. That was also the time where I like to kind of develop the shadows in that little space between the nostrils and on the outsides of the nostrils. My personal preference when I'm drawing noses is I like to emphasize the ball of the nose. I don't know if that's a technical term, but like the tip of your nose that's kind of rounded. It's not always evident in reference photos, but the more noses that you draw, the more that you're going to be able to notice it. And once you see it on some reference photos, you're not really going to be able to unsee it on others. And so I like to add it whether it's there or not, just because, well, for one, I have it. I have a pretty pronounced little ball of the nose, and I think it's cute. Like I said, it's all just personal preference on what you want to emphasize on your nose. Another thing that kind of varies differently from person to person is that little valley in between your nostrils. Some people have it a little bit more defined than others. I like to emphasize that as well. I think it's another cute thing, and depending on how big you are drawing, you're not always going to be able to see it, but I think it's cute, and I think it adds a little extra something. It's like a little butt crack right there on your nose. Now, depending on how realistic you want your nose to be in your drawing is how far you're going to take the shadows and keep rendering that out. Me, personally, I like to draw the nose as realistic as I can get them. I don't always draw big enough to get this level of detail, but I do love it because it teaches me and reminds me of where things actually are versus where I think things are. When I am adding these shadows, I am trying to add like a different direction for each kind of, I guess, plane of the nose. And I'm also trying to soften out those lines that actually look like lines, because you don't have lines on your face. You know, we're not all cartoon characters with outlines. So that's one of my main goals when I'm shading, is to soften those lines up and add kind of like a gentle gradient, and also to show directionality for each different plane. And the majority of the time, depending on the lighting, the nostril is going to be the darkest part. And so I try to save going in that dark just for those nostrils. And I also try not to go too overboard with anything, like this mechanical pencil. I'm trying not to go overboard with it and make some harsh lines, because it is a sharper lead. It is going to make those hard lines pretty easily. And I'm also trying not to go too soft, like with the smudge tool. I don't want everything smudged out, because then that would just be one big soft blob. And as you're going to be seeing, I do a whole page of just noses. One of the things that has helped me so much as an artist is repetition. Not everybody likes to hear that. They want to be good at drawing like that, and it's just not going to happen. Repetition and practice is your best friend when it comes to being able to draw things more realistically, or being able to draw things from imagination. I don't think you need to be at a point where you draw everything perfectly. I just think that as you're growing with your own skills, that repetition is really going to come in handy, and doing studies like this really helps. So as I had mentioned before, I didn't have access to the internet all the time. All I really had access to was these kind of books. The specific one I had gotten, I want to say 20 years ago for Christmas from my dad. And I would just sit there practicing all the different features in there from all the different angles that you could think of. And another cool thing that he had pointed out was that the differences between like a younger nose and an older person's nose, or a female nose and a male nose. The more that you practice these noses, the better it's going to be. And if you aren't comfortable drawing a specific feature, keep practicing. Keep doing studies like this. If you don't have access to the internet and videos for tutorials, check out a book from the library. That I used to do that all the time. The rest of this video is going to go by pretty quickly. It's just going to show you the same thing that I did in the first nose. And just to recap, basic shapes, light layers, take your time, have fun with it. Everybody wants to be perfect right away, and it just doesn't work like that. You're also not going to be able to draw a perfect drawing if you haven't drawn anything in like a week, you know? It's just like any other muscle. You want to keep using it or you'll lose it. Not forever, just until you remember. This is another thing that I do when I've got like art block. When I have no idea what to draw, I do studies, because it's keeping me drawing and keeping my art muscles kind of moving, and it also kind of like gets me inspired to draw something else. So while I might be doing all noses on this page, that really helps me in my next portrait. Another thing that I like to do when I'm feeling stuck on what I want to draw, or when I feel like I just can't draw anything right, is I watch some tutorials. Although I don't recommend watching a tutorial while you're in the middle of an actual drawing piece, because then you will look at other people's work and feel really crappy about your own. So don't do that. Some people that I really enjoy watching are Chris Hong, Emrulo Art. If you can afford to, Loish has so many good tutorials. Aaron Blaze, any of those people, just anybody that you enjoy watching, basically. Find someone that has a style of art that you enjoy, and then see what they do and what kind of creative choices they make. That's one of the things that, while I don't enjoy making tutorials, I do understand the concept of people seeing something and wanting to draw something pretty similar, or knowing how I got to that. The only thing of it is like, it's kind of tricky to make videos like step by step. It just feels really phony and really forced. But I absolutely love helping people do things like drawing, and I don't gatekeep around here. If there's something that like really helps me out, you're gonna know about it. And if there's something that really like makes things harder or isn't as awesome as I expected or as everybody is making it seem, I'm gonna let you know. I don't really get a lot of opportunity to draw noses in this upright angle. Actually, a funny story about this. Like this nose is kind of like upturned because the face is upturned, right? But when I was a little kid, one of the things that used to drive me absolutely insane about taking school pictures was my nose. Like I did not always love my nose. Um, when I was a kid, it seemed like everything I did, it looked like a little pig snout because you could see like right up my nostrils. And I didn't really realize that you could just like tilt your head down a little bit and it wasn't so bad. Like they would tell you to like sit up straight and put your head back and smile real big. But then every single time that my pictures came back, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a pig nose. And my mom used to like try to make me feel better. She was like, no, you don't. Your nose is cute. You have my nose. And I was like, "Ah, that's not, she didn't have a pig nose to me, but I also didn't know that my nose looked anything like her nose." And it's just funny because, like, now I know, like, now, oh my gosh, kids can get on the internet and they have, like, they're all, like, little tiny models. Like, I feel like none of them go through the awkward phases that we had to go through. Like, no, where's the ugly school pictures and the awkward school pictures? Where are they? Everybody is, like, just adorable. I don't know, man. This generation, other than, like the world falling apart, I think they've got it pretty awesome. You can get online and you can learn anything that you want to learn. I don't think that you necessarily need to have like a talent at anything. You can learn whatever you want to know. Like, it's the freaking future, man. Although I will say, speaking of the future, I did not expect us to be where we are with AI. Like, I never wanted the robot to be drawing for me. I wanted the robot to be doing all the crap that I didn't want to do, like weed whacking or like vacuuming. I don't want to do that. Cleaning out the litter box, yeah, have at it, robot. But I did not expect to have to be telling Facebook not to use my artwork in AI images. Like, I don't want a reimagined AI image of my own artwork that I spent hours drawing. You know what I mean? That's just not where I thought that we would be as a society. Oh yeah, this nose, I totally freaking love drawing this nose. I don't know if it was just because I was like super warmed up, but I drew the highlight as like a little heart, and I thought that was the cutest little thing. And now I'm kind of like obsessed with seeing like in my future drawings what I could incorporate cute little shapes in, like tiny little hearts, like where people wouldn't expect to see them, just little happy little things. For these last three, I was just trying to show like a simplified, very simplified version of noses that didn't really include any shading. I kind of messed up on the bottom one. I am still trying to remind myself to check out the camera, make sure that it's actually on what I'm drawing. If you guys like this tutorial, it would mean so much to me if you would hit the like and the subscribe button. Helps out my channel a lot. I make new videos every week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye!